My name is Lance Richardson. I am starting a video series on the Princeton offense and offensive concepts that go with the Princeton offense. I've been in coaching for 20 years. I was an assistant coach at Oregon State University, Stanford University, Union University. I've been a head coach at Covenant College for the Tennessee Mud Frogs, Westview High School, Tonopah Valley High School, and Barado High School. I was at the Golden State Warriors practice this past fall, and I had a coach that I met there that was asking me about the Princeton offense, and I felt like instead of just writing all the information down and sending him a folder, I would go ahead and create a video series about the offense. I learned it at Stanford University under Jimmy Tillett, who went up and spent time with Bill Carmody at Princeton, and we came down and we're very successful running this Princeton offense and the way we run it. And since then I've tweaked it. I use it every year, but I tweak it to make it fit my team's style. Hopefully you enjoy this series. Some of the keys on offense: you're always reading either P, the ball, or your defender. You must know what the read is in that specific action, and you can teach the players in the different scenarios and situations what they need to be reading at that time. If someone cuts above you, fill that spot. 99% of the time that's the case. If you get dribbled at, make the appropriate cut. Dribble at defenders, not at the offensive player. We see that a lot. If you dribble at an offensive player, it's going to take him farther away from the arc, which you don't want. So always dribble at defenders. Cut hard on every single cut. Even if it's not a scoring cut, the defense doesn't know whether you're trying to score or you're just trying to create space. So make sure you cut hard on every cut. Be able to figure it out on a busted player action. We want players to try to make plays to be basketball players, but if they try to make a play that's not there, we'll just say figure it out, and our players know exactly, or that phrase means to go to a specific spot or one of the specific spots that we use. Again, we want guys to be able to have the freedom to make plays in the offense, so we just say figure it out in order to get us back into our offensive flow. When we run, you need to be in one of the following spots: ball side block, on the wing, free throw line extended outside the arc, corner outside the arc, guard spot, lane line extended outside the arc, or top of the key. So if you're not in one of those spots, you need to find one of those spots quickly. In transition, we are looking for open threes, makers, not takers. We want guys that can shoot threes, we want guys that can make threes and not guys that can just shoot threes. We don't want somebody shooting 25% from the three-point line taking threes in transition. Also, we look for, in transition, anything that attacks the rim, layups, drives, or any kind of post touch. If there's no shot in transition, we want to find where is P and then run our offense from there. If you have a player flying at you, make the next pass. We don't want guys shooting contested threes. We want open threes. So if you have someone running at you, just make the next pass, and then ultimately we find that that's the best way to get wide open looks. Basic setup in the offense: if we're just walking up the court or if our transition breaks down, 4 perimeter players and one post P, 2 guards lane line extended outside the arc, 2 wings free throw line extended outside the arc. The post is on the block or at the top of the key. Again, this is our main setup. We can run anything and everything we want to run out of this setup. Keys for success: the way we run the system. You need to be willing to tweak it every year for your team. We do that every year to where, depending on if we have a good penetrating team or player, a good post player, or a good shooting team, we have a blueprint for our offense, but then we tweak it every year based on what our guys do well. We had one guy who was a tremendous penetrator, so his action when he had the ball was we were going to run penetrating plays for him, and everybody knew that. And he knew he wasn't shooting threes. So you can tweak this for what your team or what you feel like your team's going to do well. And I certainly feel like this can be successful at every level depending on what talent you have. You need to be willing to work on offense a lot. It's going to take some time to do it. Eventually you can have players play different positions. I had one of my small forwards or my 3. He was playing our post position, and our post was playing his position on the perimeter. So you can interchange players easily with this once you run it, once you learn it, and once the guys feel comfortable running it. Learn how to run with it and play half court with it. I think ultimately you've got to be able to run half court offense to be successful at any level in basketball. And in tournaments, everybody's got good transition defense, so you got to be able to score in the half court, and this offense will certainly get you open looks in half court. Turnovers are everything. Doesn't matter what system you're running, you got to be able to take care of the ball. If you can't take care of the ball, you're going to be in trouble. I would encourage you to really keep your players accountable early in your time at that school. That way they'll understand the importance of valuing the ball. Players learn at different levels, figure out their levels and teach accordingly. You've got to know how your players learn. You've got to know how they respond to your coaching. Not everybody is different, but you're going to find some guys that learn in a little bit different fashion, so you've got to figure out what that is. Be willing to learn new things and add that to your system. I'm always looking for new ways to make the offense better. I watch tons and tons of games. So as a coach, I think you got to be willing to tweak what you do in order to make it better. And you also, lastly, with our keys, you got to be able to teach basketball vocabulary. We have, with our system, we have specific vocabulary that we use that only our players would understand. If you were not a part of our team, you would just think we're speaking gibberish. One of our plays that we like to run, and we'll call out the full play in practice or in the timeout, but there's some key words in there that we use. One of the plays, again, is pitch ahead, dribble one, zipper, dribble at all the way through. So our players, if I said that in a timeout, they would know exactly what we're talking about. If they're coming down the court, I just might yell zipper, and they'll know exactly what that is meant if I say zipper all the way through. The first action we're going to teach is called P22, and this is the basic P22 setup. You got a post at the top of the key, two guards two wings and two corners. Everybody's high and wide to start. This is a traditional Princeton setup. You'll see it all the time with teams that run Princeton stuff. I'm going to show you the tweaks that I've made to this. If you are a traditional Princeton coach, you'll see that mine's a little bit different. I've played with this a bunch, so I love these adjustments that we've made to it. But again, this is the basic setup for Princeton. The first action we're going to work on is P dribble at. So P dribbles at the wing. One back cuts if one is open. We look to hit one on the back cut. P dribbles at his defender. One does not cut until P dribbles at him. We use the phrase, the dribble will set you free. So once he gets dribbled at, he's cutting. Four fills that spot. If one is not open, then the post is going to hit four, filling up. Once four catches the ball, one is on the ball side block. The post is going to go down and do set what we call a zipper screen. In the zipper action, it's just like a zipper on your pants or your jacket. The post is going to go downstream for one. One's going to pop straight up the lane line. P's rule is screen bodies. We want him to headhunt. We don't want him to screen air. If the post sets a solid screen here, one of the two players is going to be wide open. If they switch it, obviously you got P for a layup. If they don't, then you got one coming off that screen. And we teach one specific footwork when he catches the ball, so he's squared to the goal and he can also attack the rim at the same time. If we do pass the one off that zipper screen, he's going to look to attack. His bailouts are P on the block, and then on the weak side, we have two setting a down screen for three. Really, we're not looking to use that action. But we're blowing smoke. We're keeping the defenders occupied so one can really penetrate in and score. If we do kick it to three, he can shoot it, or he can attack, or he can continue on running the next action in the offense. If three catches off one's penetration, he's going to dribble up to the top of the key. One's going to fill out to the corner of the side he passed to. Two's going to fill up to the wing. And this is ultimately going to get us into what we call one above. And we run a ton of different actions in our one above setup. This again is just another board of our one above action. The post is coming up to the elbow to catch. We call this elbow action. Princeton runs this setup a lot, so if you're watching Princeton teams, you'll see this. But again, this is just the basic. He dribbled up from the wing. We have a guard at the top of the key. We have two wings, and then one player opposite the post in the corner. This is an option that I've used in the past to where instead of running the zipper cut where the post down screens for one is back cut out of P22. We hit the fill man 4, and the post goes to ball screen for 4. 1 just clears out to the opposite side. 2's making his way up to the top of the key, and 3 makes his way up to the wing. Anytime we use a ball screen, we are looking to attack using the 2-man game, or 4 can also refuse that screen and just drive to the rim. It's totally up to his option, but this is a good way. If you have a player that's a good ball screen player, this is great action to use with him. Again, when we use ball screens, we are looking to attack off this, and we call this, well, we'll get into that later. This is a continuation of the P22 where we've hit the fill man and we've gone to ball screen for him. If 4 doesn't have anything, he kicks it up to 3 at the top. The post is diving on the 2-man game. Once we catch the ball at the top, and you'll see this gets us right back into our one of our base initiators or base setups. This is just the base setup. Again, 3's at the top of the key. 1 is in the opposite corner. 2 is on the wing. 4 is on the other wing, and the post is on the block. And eventually, he'll make his way up to the elbow to catch. This is our initial P22 setup. Again, this time we're going to talk about a hand cut. So P is going to dribble to at 2's defender. 2 is going to hand cut, or it's also a handoff. We're looking to shoot that on the handoff. It's a great way to get a shot. It can be a quick hitter late in the game if you need a 3. On the weak side, 1's filling up to the guard spot and 4's filling up to the wing spot. This is a continuation of that action. 2 does not have a shot on the hand cut, so he dribbles along the arc on the weak side. 4 flares in, or we call it an in screen. He sets an in screen for 1, and 1 is not setting his man up here. He's just following the 3-point line or following the arc to get out to the wing. We're looking to hit 1 on that action, and you can see once 1 catches, it's basically his world. That whole side of the floor is emptied out so he can penetrate. He has an option there to either penetrate it or he can hold it for some continuous action. If 1 does decide off the in screen or the flare screen to penetrate, we've got 3 in the corner for a bailout if 3's man comes to help. Obviously, if you're a good defensive team, you've got a guy in the paint right there. 3's man or X3's in the paint. He's going to cut off that drive that 1 has. So 3 should be wide open. If 3's catches the ball, he's not open, he'll make the next pass to the next player. But like we said, we want 1 to be aggressive off that in screen. If 1 does not attack on the in screen and he holds it, we're going to set what we call a follow screen. This is a traditional Princeton action as well. The post is going to follow 2, who ultimately had the ball and pass it to 1, and he's just going to follow 2's dribble, and he's going to set a screen on 2's man. 2's job is to set him up with what we call a check cut and hopefully have a shot at the top or a penetration from the top. But again, it's called a follow screen. This is a little bit more detailed, a follow screen action. 4, the in screener gets out to the corner. 2 setting his man up, and you can see the arrow or the direction of 2. We want our 2, we call it a fish hook. We want him making a fish hook off of that check cut because it gives him a tremendous angle to shoot the ball, but also his momentum is taking him forward as opposed to a back pedal where he's going away from the goal. This fish hook cut makes him go directly toward the goal. Also, 3 is filling up from the corner to the weak side wing. We want him bringing his man up. If 1 decides not to hit 2 on the follow screen and the fish hook cut, 2 is going to curl, and 1 can hit him on the curl. Obviously, we'd take that if we could. If not, If that's not open, the post is ultimately going to pop back, and we're going to hit the post to get back into P22 action. Here's the post popping back. 2 gets out to the corner that has no player, doesn't have a player occupying that corner. The post pops back again, and 1 hits the post, and ultimately that totally resets the offense. And here's the final board for the day with our final P22 action. Again, the post has popped up to the top where we've reset the offense. Now you can see whether it's a zipper cut or whether it's a P22 hand cut, we can get back into this action. Anytime I teach this offense, P22 is the first thing that we teach because it can be used in so many situations and circumstances. That's it for the P22 action. Hopefully you enjoyed the information. If you have questions or comments, please email me at coachwhiteboard@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at @coachwhiteboard. Thank you very much.